Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona in partnership once again with Foto Forum, and this is another great episode of Garage Talk. So let's get on it. So today we are going to do a walkthrough of the menu system for the Canon R50. It's their new entry-level crop sensor mirrorless camera, and in case you missed it, the card's up top here someplace for the review that we just did about this camera. And enough of that, let's go ahead and get started with a walkthrough on this. Super easy menu system, my friends. We're gonna go ahead and show you step by step what you need to do to get started. So let's do it. Go ahead and get this sucker to wake back up. All right, so as you see here, the first portion of the menu is going to be talking about some of the image settings. And we have page 1 of that, and image quality is RAW. Now, you can come in here and you can change this to JPEG if you'd like. All right, you can go to JPEG large is what we recommend if you are going to shoot JPEG. This will give you an option to shoot RAW and JPEG. And then if you see there, the C RAW is a compressed RAW. So if you want to shoot compressed RAW, you're more than welcome to do that as well. You'll get the same performance in electronic shutter, whether you're shooting RAW or compressed RAW, just to let you guys know. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and leave that as RAW and no JPEGs. We're gonna back out of that. The still image aspect ratio, we wanna leave this at 3:2, but if you were so inclined, you can actually do a 4:3, which is gonna be also standard for Instagram, a 16:9, so if you wanted to take that photo and enter it as a still in your video, that's gonna be the common aspect ratio. And then 1:1, which is going to also be a aspect ratio that's gonna be standard for Instagram or Facebook for that matter as far as posts. So as we come to the next one, we're not worrying about teleconverters right now, so don't worry about that. As we come to the next one, we have exposure compensation. This is exactly what it is. This is going to be adjustments for our exposure compensation. ISO speed settings. As you can see here, I have it set to auto, and I have the max for auto at 3200. Now, the reason why is this camera is not the best in low light, as we discussed in our review. So 3200 is where I would say it should be, not exceeding for your photography, especially your video. If you want to manually adjust that up to 6400, which is the most I would take this camera, you can. But for those who are going to shoot in auto ISO, that's where I would leave it at the 3200 mark. So HDR shooting, I have HDR PQ turned off. Now, when you shoot video, if you want to shoot 10-bit, it has to be HDR PQ. This also means that your compression is going to be 265. Again, watch that review for all the detailed information. I like the standard color profile that Canon has here in 8-bit, so that's why I'm going to leave it there. It's not as saturated and it looks more natural. You're going to get an H.264 on your compression. It's going to edit a little bit easier. And again, I think it's more pleasing to sight than the HDR PQ. HDR mode for photography is turned off. You don't need it, in my opinion, but you can. This is going to be personal preference. Highlight tone priority, I have turned off. I want my white balance and all my tonality to match whatever the white balance is. I don't want it to necessarily give preference to ambiance, which this would do. Again, your choice as far as that goes. Now, when we talk about metering mode, Canon calls it evaluative metering, which is going to be similar to Sony doing the totality of the scene. Go ahead and leave it on evaluative, but you can go partial metering, spot metering, or center weighted. The choice is yours. I leave it on evaluative. So when we come to our next page, page 4, we have white balance, which I have set to auto white balance. Now, of course, you can choose which white balance you want to go with. Auto typically works in today's cameras for 2023. There's really not an issue. It's pretty much spot on as far as that goes. We have our custom white balance that we can set. We also have white balance shift, so we can actually have that shift one way or another as far as exposure compensation and temperature. We have our color space, and when we talk about color space, we are talking about JPEGs. So this, if you are going to shoot in JPEG, you should be shooting Adobe RGB. This is a larger color gamut and the standard for JPEG photos. If you shoot sRGB, it's going to be a smaller color gamut. So leave it in Adobe. Picture profile is standard. You don't want to bake in any of the picture profiles. You have what control you can have with the JPEG in the post process, whether you're using Lightroom or Capture One. So leave this on standard. Clarity, we want to leave at 0. We don't want anything muddying up our image. The more the camera does, and it tends to be heavy-handed, and this is with all cameras, not Canon, not just Sony or Nikon or Fuji. You want to do that stuff in post-production. So this is why I leave those off. Now, the lens aberration correction, I have this on. It's one of the few things I have on. Now you can also do lens corrections in Lightroom or Capture One, but this is going to give you a little additional assistance. Long exposure noise reduction I have turned off. Again, we don't want that. If we want to do noise reduction, we're going to do it ourselves in post-production. High ISO speed noise reduction, again, we're taking that out. We'll do it ourselves. Dust delete data. That's just exit data, and when we go back here, this is just data that you have when your sensor does the cleaning and everything like that. It's going to give you that and log that for you. Sure, I guess, but in the grand scheme of things, not necessary, but every manufacturer likes to add something like that. Canon, this is what they like to do. When we have focus bracketing here, we have disabled because we're not shooting focus brackets, but if you wanted to shoot focus brackets with this camera, which it's pretty cool that it does, you would come in here, you would go ahead and turn this on for the number of shots, for the focus increments, and you would go ahead and set your settings here, and then you would go ahead, take your image, click the shutter, it's going to timer, and then duck, 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 take those 10 images or 20 images or whatever, but you have to combine those in the post-process, okay, with a different piece of software other than Lightroom or Capture One. Drive modes, so here's our drive modes. Obviously we have single shot, high plus, high, low speed, timer, timer 10 second, timer with continuous shots, and then you get a choice to choose how many photos you want it to take after that timer's elapsed and it starts taking photos. Typically I have the drive speed set on continuous high. That's just a preference for me. You can do high plus if you'd like. I think all cameras, for the most part, have a better performance in continuous high. I don't necessarily see the benefit of having high plus. Your mileage will vary. You can go ahead and make that choice. Now, these are also items that you can access from the quick menu on the back of the screen as well, which will be a different video when we talk about the camera walkthrough. Now, silent shutter I have turned off, but you can go ahead and turn this on, and this means that it's going to be full electronic shutter, and you're not going to hear a sound. It's going to kind of tick, 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 tick around the back panel screen or in the EVF, so you know it's taking photos, gives you that visual feedback, but you will be completely silent, which can come in very, very handy. Shutter mode, I have turned on electronic, but you can do first curtain, okay? I have it in electronic because, you know, in 2023, our electronic shutters have come a long way. This is going to give you your highest shutter speed, and you don't have to worry about going back or forth. Now, if you are shooting indoors with an electronic shutter, you may see some of the refresh rate waves through some of your images every once in a while, and you may get a little bit of blurring effect on fast-moving objects if you're not panning and keeping pace with them. Yeah, that happens with mirrorless cameras and that electronic shutter. Some cameras are going to control that better than others depending on the sensor. This one does okay. So it's really going to be up to you on what you want to do and how you want to mitigate that. But having an electronic shutter, I think, all the time isn't necessarily a bad thing. So let's go ahead, and yes, can't be used with flash photography because flash uses that for this camera. Now, certain cameras, you can use electronic shutter with flash, but for this particular one, if you're going to be using a flash, an external flash, you have to have it in front E curtain mode to trigger the flash. So that's another thing I should mention. Release without card I have turned on, but again, this is going to be preference if you want it to or not. Image stabilization mode, this does not have Ibis. I have the digital turned off, but I have IS mode on, so it's not going to lay in an additional crop. This does not have built-in Ibis as we know it with a mechanical built-in Ibis for the sensor. Customize, quick controls. Now here you can edit your layout, okay, and this is how you're going to go ahead and change your quick access menu. Now, I don't care if you're shooting a Canon camera, Sony, a Fuji. I tell people to use the camera for at least 3 months. And if you shoot a lot, you may not take you as long. But use that camera for at least 3 months. And then go back in and change what you feel needs to be changed. Okay? This way, you're not making arbitrary changes and then going, crap, I should have left it alone. You're going to, based on your shooting style and what you need to change most often, is how you're going to set that up. Canon does a really good job out of the box, in my opinion, and so does Sony. And I'm a Sony shooter, so I appreciate how Canon has this laid out. It's very reminiscent to the Sony system. But this gives you the ability to fully customize everything. You can reset all your settings, you can clear all your items, you know, go back to the drawing board, redo it again, however you want to get it set up. So it's nice that they give you that control. Touch shutter I have disabled. I don't like the touch shutter. That means when you touch the back of the camera, it's going to focus and take the photo. I'd rather have that off. Touch focus is one thing, but touch shutter I'm still not a fan of. Image review, I have this turned off. When I take a photo, I don't want it to pop back on the screen automatically. If I want to review that image, I'm going to review that image. High-speed display is turned off. Metering timer is set to 8. Now, you can change this, and what this is going to do is how long it's going to take to remeter itself. 8 might work good for you, 4 might work better for you. I think anything longer than those two is going to be too long because as conditions change, you want it to remeter and do what it needs to do right away. Again, personal preference on that one. If we come up to the top, display simulation, you want this to be exposure simulation. And what this basically means is what you see is what you get as you change, say, your aperture or your ISO, possibly even if you're doing your exposure compensation for whatever reason, you're going to see that as it happens. And so when you take your photo, you know, what you're seeing is what you're getting, and that's why, you know, we refer to it as what you see is what you get. Exposure plus depth of field, I've never been a fan of that one. It's a simulated depth of field. It can come in handy, sure, and I think for specific scenarios, yes, I think it would be useful. But for everyday photography, you're just going around, you're hanging out with your friends, you're taking photos and stuff, I don't think it's necessary. OVF, that's optical viewfinder simulation assist, that's off. Why do we want to have a simulation of an optical viewfinder when it's not nearly as good as an electronic viewfinder? Shooting info display, so now here's where you're going to get a chance to change all your settings. As you can see here, what you see on the back of the camera. Again, this is a very, very powerful tool, a very powerful assistant. You can make the choices on what you choose to see. Shoot for 90 days, see what feels right to you, then go back and make any changes or alterations. We can also see this in the viewfinder. We can change that vertical display. We can do a grid display, and this typically is rule of thirds. Histogram display and the brightness and the lens info display, so you get plenty of options on how that information is delivered to you on the back screen. Reverse display is turned on. VF display format. So your viewfinder, you have two options. You can have it look like this, or you can have it look like this. Personal preference, I like number one. Totally up to you guys. Seriously, it's one of those where there is no right answer to that one. Display performance, you can actually choose for power saving or smooth. Now, this battery is the LP17. It's not the biggest battery in the world, so I would choose initially power savings to see how that worked for you. If you were okay with that, leave it there. If not, you can bump that up to performance, but you're gonna take a hit on the battery consumption as far as that goes. So if we go on to page number 9, we could see movie recording size. Here's where we're gonna get a chance to choose, and I would choose 4K 24. It's the standard. There it's gonna tell you how much total time you're gonna get on your SD card. You choose that. Sound recording, we have auto, but you can go ahead and change what your settings are gonna be, which I would recommend that you use manual settings as far as that. Then you can adjust your recording level. You can come down and change that. Wind filter, we are going to disable because it's really heavy-handed and it sounds kind of garbled. sometimes, so leave that to manual. For your ISO speed settings, here's where you get a chance. I would not go over 6400. Personally, I wouldn't go over 3200, but these are the two options you get on that. Slow shutter speed, we can just go ahead and leave that where it has. Slow shutter speed on, slow shutter speed off. Records movies with a smooth subject movement when dark. Again, this is going to be an internal functionality thing. I would prefer just to have my shutter speed maintained, and I'm going to do any adjustments in post-process. But if you'd like, this camera is all about making it simple for the shooter, the entry-level beginning shooter. So take your pick on here, automatically record brighter movies in the dark, or record movies with smooth subject movement when dark. It's going to be up to you on what you want to choose. I don't necessarily think there's a right answer on this one. So you're talking to someone, though, too, that all my stuff I record, manual, so it's shutter, aperture, exposure, and I'm recording a log 9 times out of 10. So, this wouldn't affect me one way or the other. Your mileage will vary, though, and I'm here to tell you that there's no right answer to that one. Choose the one that's going to work best for you. And don't let anybody tell you differently on that, with this camera anyway. So, auto level, so you can enable this or disable this. Leave it disabled because you want to make adjustments. You don't want it to auto level your picture. You want to be able to see those level marks which you can put on one of your screen choices on the back screen, and that way you can adjust your camera so the horizon is level and it's done mechanically, not artificially. Shutter button function for movies. This just tells you that the half press is going to meter and it's going to lock in your continuous focus. You can change this, okay, to where it's metering only, one shot, all right, your choice. Again, use the one that suits you best, guys. Seriously, no right answer on this one. For this camera, there's no right answer. One right answer, I should say. So if we come to the next page or the next section, we're going to talk about autofocus. So autofocus operation, I typically like to do continuous autofocus, and I like for this camera what worked really well was the whole area autofocus with face and eye detect on. I thought it did a really, really good job. But you have different options here. Another popular one is the expanded autofocus area, which is really nice. For video, though, the whole area is the way to go, in my opinion. Again, do what works for you, guys. Experiment with these, try them in different scenarios, and then go, oh, this one works better when I'm doing this type of video or photography. This one works better when I do this type of video and photography. Get to know your camera and the settings. You're going to utilize this the best way, or to its fullest potential, I should say. Whole area tracking servo. So I have this set to be on, all right? I have subject to det to be people. Now you can do auto. Auto works okay, but you could do people, and then what I would recommend is that you set this in that quick access menu. So if you need to change on the fly, it's just a touch of the back of the screen, okay? You can go into that mode, make your decision as far as what you want to recognize and track, and then get right back to shooting. So I think that's more effective, but again, not necessarily a right answer on that one, a right or wrong question, I should say. Eye detection is enabled. Okay, leave that enabled always. Focus mode, autofocus, you can go manual focus if you want, but we bought this, mainly for its autofocus capabilities. Preview autofocus enabled, autofocus assist beam firing is on. You can turn this off, and then it has an LED autofocus assist beam only, okay? That's totally up to you. This is basically going to, when it's dark, when the autofocus, all modern day autofocus, I don't care what it is, Sony, Canon, Nikon, it uses contrast and, or I should say at the heart of it, even though its phase detect is based on contrast. So as the light level drops, it still needs contrast. And so even the Sony cameras or the higher end Canon cameras, they have a little light on the front. And when you go to autofocus, it'll turn on and cast light forward to try to assist the camera in autofocusing. Totally up to you. I have mine all disabled, but you can leave it on here, but I'm going to disable it because that's what I normally do. But that's what that's for. They call it a beam. It's basically a light. Sure, whatever. Touch and drag autofocus settings. This is off. Leave it off. This is kind of touchy. I think it's better for you to manually adjust your autofocus settings. Manual focus peaking settings, you can turn this on. And then I would suggest you do your level as low and color red. No right answer. This is where I like to live for this setting. I think that too much focus peaking is a falsehood, and sometimes will tell you that your image is really in focus when it's kind of not. So the lower level is a little bit more accurate in my opinion. Again, your mileage may vary, so choose the one that is right for you. So now as we look at focus guides, you can turn this on or off. It's exactly what it says. It's going to help you with the focus guide in your manual focus. It's another focus assistant, which Canon does a great job with this. Sony does not, all right? Canon, their focusing guide, I think is very reminiscent of almost a rangefinder, okay? And I appreciate it. I think they do, again, it's one of the things that Canon has perfected in my opinion. Movie servo, it is servo, autofocus enabled. It's continuous focus. That's what servo autofocus is. And Canon is continuous focus in Sony. So it's the same thing, but just using a different language. And yes, I want continuous focusing in movie mode if I'm recording. We're going on to the next page. Lens electronic manual focus is turned off. That's going to be your control ring up here on the front. So what we can do is we can go ahead and change this here, okay? Whichever one you choose to use. And then focus control ring, it's going to be focus. All right, so here we could turn this on, and now the focus control ring is going to be focus. All right, or you can go in and you can disable it, and you can actually program this ring to do whatever you want it to do. Change your shutter speed, change your ISO, change your aperture. Canon did a really good job of allowing you the freedom to use the control ring at your disposal on how you see fit. So standard issue is focus. You may find a different use for it. Again, not necessarily one right answer. It's a preference thing. All right, don't let anybody give you crap for that. So now when we come into playback, all right, so these ones you're pretty much going to leave alone. They are all set up standard issue, Canon, Sony, Nikon. There's no reason to change these at all. So I would recommend that you do not, okay? Red eye correction, resizing, cropping, and any of these things you're not going to do in camera. You're going to do all this stuff in post. You're not going to set up a slideshow to play back on the back of your camera. It's one of those things, guys. This one, sure, if you want to dive into it, you're more than welcome to, but I am here to tell you, leave those settings alone. All right, you'll get nothing but heartache by messing with them. Now here we have connectivity, and these are important, obviously. You could connect to your smartphone or tablet, connect to a wireless remote, which is great. You can connect to the Canon utility, which is going to be an app. You can upload to image.canon, okay, which is their cloud server. You can print directly from this camera to a Wi-Fi printer, which is awesome, and you can do advanced connections, which you don't really need to worry about because you're not going to hook up to a TPC server. That being said, airplane mode, turn on or off because this does have Wi-Fi. You can enable Wi-Fi. You can enable your Bluetooth. Your camera name is going to be this, and you can change it to Jennifer's camera, to Christopher's camera, to Johnny's camera, to Betty's camera, to whatever you want. You could turn on or off your GPS. This is totally up to you. It has error details, and then it has reset all communication settings, okay? So if you're going to use your phone and you're going to download the Canon app and use that app to control this camera, which you can, these are the settings, this is where you're going to do it, okay? All these are going to be tantamount and very important to you. Choosing these, it's going to walk you through. You can add device. It's very simple to do. We're not going to do it today for this practicals or for the purposes of this video, but yes, super easy to do. Canon actually streamlined this process very well. Sony's is a little clunky, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Sony shooter and they freaking can't stand it. And I think Sony has a really crappy app myself, but it is what it is. Let's keep moving on, enough jibber jabber. So now we're into the toolbox section. Select folder, leave your folders alone, okay? You don't need to create any other folders. Just like when I do the Sony menu systems, leave this alone. Number filing is going to continuous. This is going to be formatting your SD card. Auto rotate on the camera or on the computer, yes, okay? Add the video rotate info is enabled. That's going to be your exit data. Here's your date and time, which is actually, I think, accurate. Yes, it is. Language is going to be English. Video system is for NTSC, not PAL. Mode guide is going to be enabled. Feature guide, keep enabled. Beep, this is up to you. This disables all beeps, so it's not going to make any noise. It'll give you no audio feedback on when you're doing something incorrectly. Your choice. This is just another way to keep your camera completely silent and shooting in a ninja-like format. Power savings, so screen dimmer. You can choose when the screen goes dim. You can choose when the screen turns off. It's currently disabled, but you have a choice. Obviously, this is going to assist in power savings. Auto power off after 30 seconds. You could do it 5 minutes, 3 minutes, completely up to you. Viewfinder off after 1 minute, okay? Again, you can change all these settings to your liking and taste. Changing those settings, though, is going to drastically affect your battery consumption, your battery life, whether it's more or whether it's less, okay? If we go on to the next page, we've got screen viewfinder display. Again, this is going to give you the option to change on how your screen actually looks, as well as your viewfinder, and then your screen when it's closed. Canon's really good about giving you options for this, so you can dig in there and see which one suits you personally. Again, this is not one where someone should be looking at your settings and going, you're doing it wrong. You should have it set to this choice. Nope. Shoot the camera how you want to shoot it because it's your camera, okay? Screen brightness, this is another one you can change. You make it brighter or less bright, totally up to you. The screen on here isn't the best. We've talked about that again in the review video. Adding brightness to it will help, but you're going to pay a penalty on your battery life. Just keep that in mind. Viewfinder brightness, I've never had a camera where I've changed this. It's always been on auto, so it's going to be based on ambient light. Fine-tuning your viewfinder color tone. You can dive into this if you want to, okay? I would urge you not to. It's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. Let it alone. It does a great job calibrating itself automatically, all right? Magnification is disabled. You can enable it if you want, okay? Or you could just double tap the menu screen with 2 fingers to enlarge the display. It's completely up to you. Again, this is a personal choice. And this is actually a really nice addition, a nice feature. Let's say you're visually impaired and you need a little help. You could double tap, or you could just turn it on and it's on all the time. So for some people who have visual limitations, I think this is actually a really good feature that Canon added. My hat's off to you, Canon, for doing so and having that foresight. HDMI resolution, leave this at auto. The HDMI stream coming out is going to be, you have your choice as far as that. But 1080 typically is good enough, and having the camera detect it automatically is going to be good enough too, because let's face it, you're not going to stream in 4K, you're going to do it in 1080, so you can get a little bit higher frame rate and you're going to use up less bandwidth, okay? And unless you plan on getting an Ibis HDMI cable and recording to a Ninja 5, you really don't need to worry about changing it at that point. That's just, again, my opinion. You can do what you want to do. But if we're talking about practicalities, that's where I would leave it. Touch control is standard, although you can change it, I should say, to sensitive or disable. Standard works good. I talked about it in the review. I think it's responsive enough without being overly responsive. I would hate to see what, sensitive would be when you changed it. Again, this is one of those user interface things that I think Canon did a great job, just kind of hit it out of the park. Choose USB connection. So this gives you a chance, if you want to download your Canon software you can use this camera as a web camera, okay? And obviously you have remote control, photo import, video calls and streaming, and it gives you a little description, Canon apps, choose when a Canon app or software on the phone. So it's nice that they give you that choice to choose. Now, let's say you have a computer and you want to set it up and you want to do a live stream. What is that? Oh, not FaceTime. The video conferencing, Skype. There you go. Everybody was doing it. I almost forgot what it was. You know, you can use this. You can use it for Facebook Live. You can use it for YouTube Live if you want to. So it's nice that pretty much every modern day camera now has this feature and ability, and it's nice to see that it's trickled down to even the entry-level cameras. So as we move across again, we've got reset camera, which will reset all your options. We've got battery info. We have copyright information. Now here, you can actually enter your copyright. Mine would be Sure Shot Photography 2023, and then that is embedded in all the metadata. And then you can enter your details of that copyright as well. This just gives you a digital embed on the exit data of ownership of every photo or piece of video that comes out of this camera, which is nice. 2023, everybody's pirating everybody else's stuff. I don't condone it by any stretch of the imagination, but this is just a little bit additional protection as far as that goes. We got the manufacturer or manual and the software. If you want to do this, you can actually QR code, it'll take you to the website and you can see the actual owner's manual. Right? Remember when you used to get the book written in 4 different languages? Certification logo display, which is nothing more than the UL logo. And then your firmware, okay? Now from here, we have ISO expansion and safety shift. Leave both of these off. You do not want to go an expanded ISO down or up. This camera isn't, and I wouldn't even do that on a flagship camera, guys, seriously. But this is an entry-level camera. And that ISO range from 100 to 3200, where I say you should live, push it to 6400 in extreme cases, is my opinion, yes. But I'm telling you from a standpoint of what looks good and what doesn't, and noise reduction, that's it. So just leave this turned off. The safety shift, leave it turned off. Control your own destiny when it comes to that. When we have now customizing the buttons, which is odd that they put it in this menu system, or this part of the menu, again, coming from a Sony camera, it's set up a little different. But customizing the buttons, though, this is great because now you can go through and you can customize all your buttons. All right, you have full control of this. Customizing the control ring, we talked about it. You have full control over this. And then you can clear your custom settings. Now, here's the thing with the custom buttons and the custom settings. Canon, Sony, Nikon, Fuji, for their shooters who are used to this stuff, and even I would say shooters that are migrating from one system to another, they're laid out really good. They're laid out intuitively, and rarely is there a reason to futz around. Now, I will give you an example for me personally where I have taken on my Sony cameras. Sony usually has a custom button right up here in the corner, and they call it C3, all right? I have that set up to where that is focus assist. On all Sony cameras, the lenses, Sony lenses, you turn that ring. If you're in manual focus, the focus assist pops up. But I shoot manually focused glass that have no electronic contactors, a lot on my Sony cameras. So when I'm doing that, I can hit that button and it automatically punches me into that focus assist. Something like that is practical. Don't change these buttons just because a YouTuber said to change these buttons, or a TikToker or some other person other than you who's using your camera. By using your camera consistently over a period of time, again, you know, I would say 30 days to 90 days, 1 month to 3 months, you're going to know if the button layout suits you. You're going to know what you need to change and how you need to change it. So in my opinion, that's what you should do, all right? And again, this is just my opinion. If you want to go bat poop crazy and change all these settings, be my guest. But I'm telling you right now, they do a pretty good job of laying them out the way they need to be. Release shutter without lens, this is turned on. retract lens on power off. This is turned on, and clear all custom functions. So this is going to basically get you back to a state of scratch. Everything's going to be stock standard. Now here in the star menu, I have added format memory card, but you can add anything you want to this custom menu. So maybe some things that you don't have access to in the Q menu, the quick set menu, this is where you'd add them. The one I typically have on all my cameras is formatting, so I don't have to dig for it. Everything else you could set up in your function menu or your quick menu as Canon refers to it. So, but here's where those items are going to live. And then from there, this is where you're going to add menus or you're going to add a tab, and then we're right back to the beginning as far as that goes. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot with this camera as far as functionality within the menu system. It's nice to see camera manufacturers offer those options in their entry-level cameras, where before it used to be that you'd have to get a flagship camera to have complete control over all of your settings, and the entry-level camera, not so much. Now, entry-level cameras, just like flagship cameras, you can change anything you want. Your settings, your custom settings, your buttons, program it to your heart's content, which is nice. It gives you the ability and the power to make your camera your own. Now, keep in mind though too, when you're shooting manual, aperture, or shutter priority, you will have access to all these settings. But if you're shooting in program mode or auto mode, you're gonna see a lot of those options grayed out. So if you want to take full advantage of your camera's flexibility in the menu system and the options that it offers, you definitely want to stay in one of the other modes, shutter, aperture, or manual mode. This way you have full control over your camera. And if you're just starting out, that's okay. You can shoot in program mode and auto mode. Just make it a point to learn and get out of those so you can really start to see, or I should say maximize the potential of not only you, but your camera itself. So real quick before we finish up, I do want to give a big shout out to Foto Forum, our sponsor, our cohort for this video. Foto Forum's been serving the photography community for 50 years in Phoenix, Arizona, which is amazing. Not only Phoenix, but the outlying cities too. In the time that I've worked there, I've built up quite the customer base for people in Prescott, Sedona, Tucson. People from Tucson drive up to see us, which is amazing. I am so excited to be part of that Foto Forum community, and I've watched it grow over the last 2 years, not just with photographers, but with videographers as well, that hybrid content creator, because it's 2023 and it's hard to just be a photographer anymore, or a videographer for that matter. So, all right, my friends, on that note, that is the end of our tutorial video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell notification icon. Helps out the channel, helps out the video. There's going to be some links down below, Foto Forum. Click the link, go to their website, give them a call, say hey, or come down on a Thursday or Friday and say hi to me. I'm usually there unless I'm on assignment someplace. So, other links down below to our social media, the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's the devil's work, but it's necessary to get the word out about Get Out Arizona. You can keep up on all the day-to-day affairs, our group hikes, our group rides, and all the fun shenanigans that we like to do on our outdoor Goonie-like adventures. The other links are going to be Amazon affiliate links. I need to tell you that. If you make a purchase, we'll receive a small commission. You won't be charged anything additional though, and it helps us out with that other trifecta that we enjoy so much. Coffee, gas money, and park passes. Can't. Gotta have it. Okay, if you're gonna do the adventures, you gotta have it. So, on that note, my friends, what do we always say? Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards out on that trail. And we have to ask, what are you waiting for? Get out Arizona. We'll see you on that next adventure, friends. Take care, everybody, and be safe.